Good morning. Another beautiful Saturday. Today I'm going to be officiating at a wedding. Just looking forward to being part of that wonderful couple's start. It's just going to be a great day. If any of you have traveled to third world countries, and even not so third world countries, you might have noticed that many of them do things quite differently than we do. In some places, the health standards are extremely bad, with human waste actually running down open sewers in the street. And when I say open sewers, I mean ditches. In other countries, people just go out and dump their garbage in the street, and it might sit there for days or weeks, and there are cows and other animals that just roam the streets and eat the garbage. The government might come by whenever they get around to it and shovel the filth into a truck and take it away. I've personally watched homeless children eating out of some of those piles of garbage. Disease and sickness is rampant, and no one thinks twice about it. What we take for granted is not even considered possible in some of those places. Many of our laws and our customs would be as foreign to those nations as if we had just arrived from the moon. In our recent reading, Moses is reteaching the Israelites some of the ceremonial and the moral laws that God had given them. In all of these commands, it becomes obvious that God is concerned about the way we live our daily lives. Throughout the centuries that Israel lived in exile from their land, they would gather in foreign countries during the Middle Ages, for example, and the Jews would keep the law. They always kept the law. This law shielded them from many of the diseases and the plagues that devastated the nations around them, even in Europe. Sometimes it even led to the Jews being blamed for the plagues, and they were persecuted, they were hated, they were murdered by the millions. The health information that we know today wasn't known or accepted by those nations. And something kind of strange is the Jews knew all about how to keep healthy. That's because God knew, and he gave them the law. Today, we're reading Deuteronomy 23 through 25. In chapter 23, verse 13, Moses, he's giving all kinds of instructions, and there he tells the people that they must make a place outside their camp where they can go to the bathroom. And they must use a shovel on the end of their weapon to cover their excrement. Now, we go, what? Why do you have to tell somebody that? But that was not common knowledge. That was not practiced. But after telling the people this, Moses explains why. And in the why, we gain an insight into why we should be concerned about such things. Deuteronomy 23:14 says this. Right after the command about the bathroom outside the camp, Moses says this: "For the Lord your God walks in the midst of your camp to deliver you and give your enemies over to you. Therefore your camp shall be holy, that he may see no unclean thing among you and turn away from you." Besides what we would consider the obvious health benefits of keeping the toilet outside the camp and covering it, God reminded the Israelites that he walked in the midst of their camp. And because of that, he wanted them to keep it holy. Applying that to us today, if God's going to live in our camp, then we need to keep it holy. God tells them that he walks in the camp to deliver them from their enemies and to make them triumphant over their enemies. God didn't leave heaven, come to earth, suffer the whip and the nails, die on the cross, and rise again so that you could get goosebumps or feel good in church on Sunday morning. Jesus came to make you victorious over sin. Jesus came so that you might defeat the enemy of your soul. Jesus came so that you could march into the enemy's camp and take back what he's stolen from you. Don't settle for a light show, a concert, and a feel-good sermon on Sunday morning. Jesus didn't come to make you feel good. He came to make you victorious. His presence in your life is all about possessing the land. It's about defeating the enemy, tearing down strongholds, and being filled with the power and the presence of God. When we get that in perspective, it's going to change the way we live. It's going to change the way we look at sin It will change the way you keep your house. Sin will become abhorrent to you. It will become the most dangerous thing in the world. Sin will become that which separates us from God. And you will not have it. Because his presence is so important. Too many Christians today have compromised with the world and become complacent with sin. And the reason is because they just don't need God to be their victory. They aren't invading the enemy's camp. They're not dressing for war. They've decided to make peace with this world and rest from the work that God has called us to do. The power of God's presence just isn't needed. We just want to feel good on Sunday morning. We want to go to church and watch a light show. We want to be entertained and humored. We have no intention of rising up in the power of the Holy Spirit and possessing the land. And so we no longer cringe at the filth that pollutes our homes, our lives, and even our churches. We're not concerned with holiness because God's presence is not essential to our lives, because we are not engaging the enemy. We don't really care if God walks in our camp. We no longer miss the presence of God because we no longer need his power, or we think we don't. It's time to take the filth of sin back outside the camp and bury it. To allow the Holy Spirit to once again fill our homes and our lives. He needs to feel at home wherever we are. To once again abide in every aspect of our day. Let's turn our camps into the habitations of the Most High God. Let's become completely dependent on God. Let's please him in all of our ways, in all that we do, so that we might rise up and truly say, the shout of the King is among us. Have a blessed day.